as that work continued, we did locate and remove one body from the structure.
And breaking now, a dramatic change in the Gaithersburg condo blast.
We have just learned that explosion killed at least one person, and this is now a criminal investigation. Good evening. Thanks for joining us for DC News Now at 6 o'clock. I'm Chris Flanagan.
And I'm Tasmin Mahfouz, and DC News Now's Daniel Hamburg has been following the story. As we just found out a couple of minutes ago, police are now searching possibly for more victims. And now there's another question. Was this intentional? As we heard from that press conference, police say that they believe this was a criminal act.
Yeah, our Daniel Hamburg has been on scene all day. He has the very latest from that news conference that just wrapped up a few moments ago that we carried live here on DC News Now. Daniel, a lot to unpack here.
Yeah, at first I want to clarify what Tasmin just said, is that this could be a potential criminal act. What the police chief told us just a few moments ago was that they do have, they're looking into some evidence, or they have some information that could indicate that this is a potential criminal act. Now, they had canine dogs here, cadaver dogs, searching the debris this morning. The fire chief, Scott Goldstein, tells us that this happened around 10 to 10:30 is when the dog first alerted on top of the pile of debris. And they had to, of course, there are a ton of debris there. They had to meticulously pick apart some of that debris. They did find a body there. That body was taken to the Baltimore Medical Examiner's office to be identified. We don't know if it's a man or a woman or a child. We do know that police tell us they still have not made contact with the owner, the person on the deed for that one unit. You'll recall us reporting several times that there was one unit where there were people unaccounted for. Again, this is a condo, so we don't know how many people were living in that unit. We only know that there was one person on the deed for that unit. Police say they still have not made contact with that person. So we don't know if the body that they found in that pile of rubble did live in the unit that they were looking for. We also don't know on what level that was, because as we mentioned a little bit earlier, this is an old building that was built with thick concrete slabs. So when this explosion happened, it basically all collapsed onto itself. So there is a lot of debris to go to. Unclear exactly what floor is where in that pile. They said that they still have a lot to search through that building. A lot of it is still unstable. Let's toss to the police chief now so you can hear what he said, clarifying about a potential criminal act.
We are looking into the possibility of this as a criminal intentional act. We don't know that for sure. We have a lot of work to do. We are lacking a lot of other evidence.
So again, to recap here, we don't know what caused this explosion yet. We had the gas company here yesterday. They had to shut off gas. As I mentioned a little bit earlier in the 5 o'clock hour, fire officials and police now, the Criminal Investigative Division is looking into this. They are looking to collect the gas pipes, gas dryers, gas stoves. All could point to a cause of this, but at this point they cannot say that this was caused by any gas leak or that the explosion was caused by gas. That is just something that will have to come about in the coming days. But again, they will be out here, crews will be out here tomorrow searching for any more potential victims. And also, of course, there is still a lot of debris that needs to be knocked down, moved out of the way. So that is the latest from the scene here in Gaithersburg. We're live in Gaithersburg. Daniel Hamburg, DC News Now.
And Daniel, dramatic new developments just in the last 15 minutes. Thank you. Of course, we'll continue to follow this story both on air and online at dcnewsnow.com.
And also developing tonight, an active shooting investigation in Southeast D.C. is underway. Police say they found a man unconscious and not breathing on Alabama Avenue. Police did not share details about the shooter. Of course, we'll be sure to bring you any new information as we learn them.
Also breaking tonight, D.C.'s top prosecutor filed another lawsuit against the Washington Commanders. He claims the team held hundreds of thousands of dollars it owed to season ticket holders.
Yeah, and D.C. News Now's consumer reporter Ben Dennis joins us now. And Ben, how is this lawsuit different from the one the AG announced last week?
Hey guys, you'll remember just 1 week ago, D.C. Attorney General Karl Racine alleged that the Commanders had colluded with the NFL and deceived D.C. residents, saying the team and the NFL shared information with each other about that ongoing investigation into alleged sexual misconduct among team staff. Well, now, D.C.'s AG is suing the team, saying that they had cheated season ticket holders from getting money they deserved. Racine alleges as of this past March, the team held $200,000 in security deposits for people with premium seats and whose contracts had expired, adding that the team promised their deposits would be returned within 30 days. The AG says some of these deposits were held for over a decade, and also alleging the Commanders converted those unreturned deposits and turned them into revenue for their own purposes. Now, this lawsuit, it's an escalation surrounding practices that Racine believes violates the district's consumer protection law. Scrutiny facing the team, owner Dan Snyder, the NFL, and league commissioner Roger Goodell. And while some security deposits were returned, Racine did not say what percentage of the full money owed to fans was returned. We sat down with Racine last week when he had signaled more legal action could soon be on the way.
Give people their money back. You can't keep things a secret. This is not the NFL. This is dealing with the public, and you're dealing with the law.
I'd be furious, personally. If I was a season ticket holder, I'd be furious if I had to do, like I said, like this organization can't really take like any more mess.
And we have reached out to the Commanders for a response after this lawsuit was announced. We are waiting on their comment as the heat from law enforcement continues to pile on the Commanders organization. Ben Dennis, DC News Now. Back to you.
Ben, thanks. All new tonight on Capitol Hill. An historic announcement today. In an emotional speech, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi told her colleagues on the House floor she will not seek re-election.
And Pelosi is the first woman elected to the role and served for nearly 2 decades. Our Washington correspondent Alexandra Limon shares what's next for House Democrats.
This announcement from Speaker Pelosi comes after that violent attack on her husband, Paul Pelosi, and after Democrats lost the House majority. After 2 decades at the top of her party, Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi announced she will no longer be a part of Democratic leadership.
Now we must move boldly into the future.
In 2006, Pelosi made history as the first woman to become Speaker.
Never would I have thought that someday I would go from homemaker to House Speaker.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer was in the House chamber to congratulate Pelosi.
One of the greatest legislators and greatest people I've ever met.
It's expected the new Democratic leadership could also make history. The leading candidate to take Pelosi's place is New York Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, who would be the first black party leader. After securing a narrow House majority, Republicans announced their focus in the upcoming Congress will be investigating President Joe Biden.
Shortly after announcing his campaign for president, Joe Biden told the American people he had nothing to do with and never had conversations with his family about their business dealings. That was a lie.
The GOP says that investigation will also extend to his son, Hunter.
So we're committed to doing it in an aggressive fashion, but in a way that's consistent with the Constitution.
And Republicans have selected California's Kevin McCarthy as their nominee for Speaker of the House. In Washington, Alexandra Limon.
And Maryland Congressman Steny Hoyer also stepping down from his leadership role. The 83-year-old Hoyer has been the #2 House Democrat since 2003. In a statement, he says, "I believe that it is time for me, however, to continue my service in a different role. I do intend to continue my service in Congress and return to the Appropriations Committee as a member to complete work in which I have been involved for many years."
Hi, good evening, my friends. Yes, it's very chilly outside. We have cooler air continuing to seep in and also a breeze that continues to really be intact across the district. Tonight, though, I have some better news. We're going to have temperatures back in the lower 30s compared to the teens. So that is the positive, but it's still very chilly with the winds pretty blustery across the district. 34 degrees is the feel-like temperature. Good evening, Westminster in the lower 30s. And then Fredericksburg, you have warmer air trying to track back in at a 36. Wonderful conditions actually making its way across our region, but you can see the wider view. We're still dealing with this lake-enhanced snow, and right now we have in the forecast throughout the weekend over 56 inches expected for Buffalo. So this is a historic storm system with over 4 feet for upstate New York. You can see a little bit of freezing rain, bright banding that's happening across Detroit, and so the Midwest and the Great Lakes, they continue to go through it. Winter weather advisories, they have expired across all of our viewing area. Garrett County, I do want to put a stray snow shower in your forecast throughout the evening, and we'll watch that even for tomorrow afternoon. So tonight, partly cloudy conditions, not tracking any moisture. We're relatively quiet, but our weather team is really focused now on the weekend as our wind chills could be in the single digits. We'll talk about that coming up.
Vanessa, thank you. And new tonight, Virginia's Attorney General's office will start reviewing the events that led to the murders of 3 football players at the University of Virginia. Now, today, the university requested a special counsel for an independent investigation. The suspect, Christopher Darnell Jones Jr., who police say shot and killed 3 university football players, is now scheduled to appear in court again next month following his arraignment yesterday. An external firm will examine the school's actions before, during, and after the shooting. And new details tonight in the case of 2 missing Montgomery County children. Their mother, who's suspected in their disappearance, actually answered to a competency hearing today, and whether or not she can stand trial. So Catherine Hoggle's children, Sarah and Jacob, were last seen in 2014. A doctor testified saying Hoggle can answer basic questions, but because she's been diagnosed with schizophrenia, she would then move on to an unrelated topic. The state wanted Hoggle questioned in open court, but her defense attorney says that would violate her rights.
As a result of her psychosis, whether or not she can think and analyze and decide things in a reasonable and rational way to assist with her defense. There has never been a question that the answer to that question is no.
So another hearing is now set for next Wednesday morning when prosecutors will cross-examine another doctor. By state law, though, she must be found competent to stand trial at least by December 1st. Otherwise, those murder charges must be dropped.
On New Tonight, Metro is testing out new gates to stop passengers who skip paying. WMATA tweeted out these photos of 2 prototypes. Barriers are supposed to stop riders from piggybacking on people who pay their fare. Right now, they're being tested out at the Fort Totten Metro station. You may recall the agency recently started ticketing riders who skip paying. So far, they say 35 citations have been issued. Metro says it wants your feedback on these new gates.